Before this video begins, I would just like to shout out Ambience for his original series of UCN videos. They're the main reason I was able to even have a shot at this mode, and he has put together likely the easiest to understand strategy guide out there. This video is just meant to show the steps I took to reach the ability to beat 50-20, and not to take credit where credit's due. Once again, thank you for your easy to follow guide, and I will leave the link to his channel in the description if you would like to check him out. I highly recommend it. What's up guys, it's FireXY, and in this video I'm going to be making a guide of sorts of how I went from being bad at Ultimate Custom Night to being able to beat 50-20 mode. In case you don't know, 50-20 mode is a challenge in the Five Nights at Freddy's game Ultimate Custom Night. It is called 50-20 mode because there are 50 animatronics selectable in the game, and you set all of them to their max difficulty, which is 20. Actually, it's more like 56-20 mode. This is due to a character called Zor that will appear during your night. She will add 6 secret animatronics no matter what during this mode. Because of this, your high score is read as 10,600 after beating 50-20 and not 10,000. I'm going to keep it short and assume you understand how FNAF games are played out, so I'll begin with the main scores I achieved on the way to this milestone and the strategies to beat them. To start off, if you don't have much of a high score, if at all, there is a very simple way to gain a high score of 2,600 points and unlock the second office. To do this, you'll want to enable this roster shown on screen. This setup does not require you to do anything, so you can basically just sit back and watch the night complete itself. However, it is possible to die to Rockstar Foxy's parrot, so just don't click on the parrot and you should do just fine. Along with this, it is also possible for Dee Dee to show up. To prevent her from appearing and adding a random animatronic during the night, you can use the Dee Dee Repel power-up. If you don't have any power-ups, it's pretty easy to get the max amount in just a couple minutes. I want to go over this right away, as you'll likely be using it heavily during runs in the future to avoid random animatronics appearing and ending your run. This way of gaining power-ups assumes you are using Windows. If you are not, you may need to farm the items manually through playing the game or just outright ignore them. First, make sure your game is closed. Second, pull up the search bar in your taskbar and enter %appdata%. Next, look for a folder that is named MMF Applications. In this folder, there should be a file named CN. If you don't see this file, try launching the game first to make it appear. Double click the file to open it. You will see it ask for an app to open the file, so just click on Notepad and press OK to open it. In the file, look at the lines and try and find where it says I1, I2, I3, and I4. Make them all equal to 9 as shown here. That is the max amount of power-ups you can have at once. If you don't see I1, 2, 3, or 4, you can simply add them in manually. Here you can see that I am missing I4, so I will type in I4 and make it equal to 9. Make sure not to add spaces. Save the file, and now when you open UCN, you should have the max amount of power-ups available. Now, with that out of the way and a new office unlocked, I will introduce you to your first challenging night to gain 5,000 points. It seems like a massive jump up, understandably, but this is because you will unlock officer in the process, and a good portion of the animatronics during this night won't even be an issue. If you feel the need to, you may remove a few animatronics, but I do challenge you to complete this night. It gets you 5,000 points, you get a new office, and you get a feel for things. In addition to our previous roster, we have added Mangle, Withered Chica, Springtrap, Nightmare Bonnie, Nightmare Mangle, Baby, Ennard, Happy Frog, Mr. Hippo, Pig Patch, Rockstar Chica, and Molten Freddy. That does seem like a lot, but most of these mechanics will just clash with each other and sort themselves out. I recommend watching the strategy first before starting to get an understanding of what you're dealing with. Don't be scared of the jump scares either, as if you want to be 50-20 mode, you're basically guaranteed to get jump scared at least once. After playing for a bit, you'll get used to it anyway. Before starting the night, turn off visual effects. This will improve your vision during distractions as well as improving the overall performance of the game. Starting out the night, you'll want to immediately turn on your power generator. This is done by simply pressing the 1 key to enable it. Also, make sure to keep your fan on, as if your office becomes too hot, the vent animatronics will start approaching faster. After the power generator is on, flip up your camera. Near the top right, you will see 3 systems: the cam system you're on right now, the vent system, and the duct system. The button of interest right now is the duct system. Click on the button and you want to place an audio alert about here. To place it, you simply click somewhere on the lines where you want to place it and it will activate. This will prevent Happy Frog, Mr. Hippo, and Pig Patch from killing you for the entire night. If you die to any one of these 3 animatronics, it's because you either didn't place the lure or you placed it in the wrong spot. Not only that, but this is the only time you'll have to go into the ducts. After this, you'll want to click back onto the cam system. Before closing the camera though, go on to camera 2. This is the camera that is to the right of the office on the map. This will prevent Nightmare Bonnie, Nightmare Mangle, Baby, and Rockstar Chica from ever killing you. If you leave this camera past 105, you will die to one of them no matter what. Doing this is okay though, as we don't even need to check the camera at all during the run. Again, if you die to any one of these animatronics, it's because you either weren't on cam 2 or you switched away from the cam past 105. At this point, you can now close the camera. Placing the audio alert and going to cam 2 deals with 8 animatronics. Continuing on, BB or JJ might be in your office now, but they will just cause a disturbance and can be ignored for now. Old Man Consequences, the red fisherman, can appear on your screen. Catch his fish by pressing the C key at the right time, as not doing so prevents you from accessing the camera. The reason we still need our camera is to reset the ventilation. Every 50 seconds, the ventilation will go up, killing us if left untreated. You will see warning signs near your camera button 30 seconds after starting the night, and the ventilation will fully be out 20 seconds later. You will want to try to limit how many times you reset this each night, as resetting constantly will make you way more likely to be killed. The goal of this is to try and wait out the ventilation until right before the screen goes completely out. Make sure to not cut it too close, as being too late will turn your screen black and kill you in a matter of seconds. To reset the ventilation, we will need to keep the vent closed. Keep it closed for the whole time we have the camera up. You will want to flip up the camera, hit the reset ventilation button, then close the monitor as soon as possible to avoid the phantom animatronics. After this process is completed, you are free to open up the vent. During the night, vent animatronics shouldn't even be a problem. They can only jump scare you if you open up the camera with the door open, but since your door is closed when you open up the camera, they won't even be able to kill you. If Mangle or Withered Chica do somehow get into your office, try to open the camera as little as possible. You can still win even if they are in your office. When resetting, it is also good to have your mouse in place to prepare the next reset. You can put your mouse in place and use the S key instead to flip up the camera. If you reset the ventilation after 3:40 on the timer, you are able to wait out the night in your office and you don't have to worry about resetting again. When it comes to animatronics that can distract you, one of them is Phantom Freddy. He will also start appearing at the beginning of the night, and there are two ways you can deal with him. You can either deal with him by flashing him with the Z key, or you can let him jump scare you. Letting him jump scare you won't kill you and will save you a bit of power, but it also could kill you if he jump scares you with the vent open. Letting him do this will let him vent animatronics if they are ready to kill. After a bit, L-Chip's ad can appear on screen at any 10-second interval. L-Chip can be skipped by either clicking the skip button or pressing enter. This is why sometimes you'll see me predict the ad and instantly close it as soon as it pops up. Phone Guy is on the same 10-second intervals and can be handled by pressing the mute call button. Also, do not move the left floor sign. Rockstar Chica will be cam Sol and cam 2 along with the plushie animatronics, so moving it will kill you if she appears on the left. You can move it back to the left by double clicking the sign. While I'm waiting for the rest of this night to be completed, because I want you to see the full night so you see how all of it goes, how I do everything. I just wanted to do a quick voiceover to kind of explain some of the things I'm doing that I didn't explain earlier. So basically, you can see Springtrap is at the top, Molten Freddy you just heard, but the reason I don't close that vent is because you can see right now, I close the vent and then I do the reset ventilation thing, and since they can't kill you unless you open your camera and the vent is open, that means they won't kill me if I just leave it open. Unless I go on the camera, they can't kill me. So basically, I just closed the vent right before, and that'll even deal with Mangle and Withered Chica for this night. And as soon as I flipped on that camera, you can see that BB and Helpy was there, which basically Helpy, BB, and JJ have a chance to appear as soon as you flip down the camera, as I said earlier, but you can just click on Helpy, get rid of him, and then close the right vent for BB or JJ. Easy as that. BB will turn off your flashlight and then JJ will disable the doors. JJ is like the really bad one to get, because if you do get JJ, then that could possibly on like more difficult rosters, like for example if Nightmare shows up or Nightmare Fredbear or Ballora, then you can't close your doors or anything, so you can't do anything. That's basically all I wanted to say, but you can see I'm just messing with the doors. It doesn't really have to do with anything. Yeah, the night ends 4 minutes and 30 in, so yeah, that's it. Completing this mode will unlock Office 3, as well as granting you with a new high score of 5,000 points. If you've made it this far, you're already on good track to beating 50-20. Let's keep making small steps up and you'll eventually have every important mechanic down. Looking in the offices section of the menu, you'll see that our next office comes with a score of 8,000 points. Again, 8,000 is a seemingly big jump, but most of the strategy stays consistent with the last roster. For 8,000, I recommend turning on these animatronics. As shown, we are now including Freddy, Toy Bonnie and Chica, Golden Freddy, Nightmare Fredbear and Nightmare, Jacko Chica, Nightmare Yon, Nightmare BB, Ballora, Rockstar Freddy, Scrap Baby, and finally Afton. The only new mechanics you'll have to look out for are usage of your mask and effectively using your doors and vents. Afton is probably the hardest addition to this night, as you only have a small amount of time to get rid of him, but I'll go over all that later. As per usual, turn on visual effects and turn on DD Repel. When starting the night, it's the same strategy as last time. Turn on Power Gen, put down your audio alert, and go to Cam 2. However, once you put down your camera, get into the habit of putting on your mask. This is because of Golden Freddy, and he'll appear very frequently when putting down your camera. He only appears when getting off the camera, so he won't be an issue other than that. When it comes to other animatronics in the mask, Toy Bonnie and Toy Chica aren't too difficult to deal with either. Every time you hear static and the lights flicker, Toy Bonnie or Toy Chica will be in your office. They both work basically the same, just put on the mask and wait until they disappear. Going back to my using doors and vents effectively statement, Floor is one of those animatronics that will start appearing at your door. When she becomes active, she'll start playing music on either your left side or right side. However, to hear what side your music's on, you will need to wear headphones. If you don't have them though, that's totally okay. When you hear music, either close the corresponding side for headphone users or just close both doors if you can't tell which side it is. You will hear a thud and she should be gone. Freddy is also a new door animatronic that's been added to your roster. You can only tell where he is from the cameras, but this is fairly easy to deal with even without your cameras. Before a ventilation reset, close the left door until you hear a thud. Make sure to leave a little time in between getting rid of Freddy and resetting the ventilation. You can keep that left door open while you reset, but make sure you hear a thud from Freddy first. If you don't and you're unsure, you can just leave the door closed along with the top vent while you reset. Okay, now it's time to deal with Afton. He only appears once a night at any 29-second interval, meaning 29, 58, etc. However, you have to react fast and close the right vent as soon as you hear him. His audio cue is to make loud banging in the vents, and his visual is to flicker the lights. Simply close the right vent until you hear a thud, and he'll be gone for the rest of the night. During the run you see on screen, I actually got pretty lucky and didn't get Afton once, but after this run, I'll show you a video I took of what he looks like, sounds like, and how to get rid of him. I just simply close the right vent, like I said. Other than that, there's not really much you have to worry about in this night other than what we've already learned before. Since there's nothing else to talk about, the voiceover, I'm gonna just cut straight to the chase, and Mangle is in my room. This is okay though. Like I said, in the last, 5,000 points, you can have Mangle in your room and still win. I stupidly forgot about Phantom Freddy, and he jump scared me while Mangle was at the vent. And I'm pretty lucky actually that I didn't die to any other animatronics, but it's okay that Mangle is here for at least this roster, because if there was Music Man or Lefty, I'd be dead within a minute and a half or so. That's one of the main reasons I died on my earlier, I've been streaming 50-25, but anyways, you can see what I'm doing right now is I'm tapping on Nightmare Yon to try and get him to appear so I know exactly where he is and I don't have to deal with him, or be guessing where he's at. Also, I didn't go over him earlier, which I don't know why, but anytime Nightmare Yon is there, you always want to keep your mouse either to the left, right above the power symbol, or all the way to the right above the temperature, because if you have your mouse any other place, the middle of the screen or something, and you're not paying attention, then it's very easy for him to just jump scare you out of nowhere. That happens to me way too much. But you can see I'm just tapping him. You don't really need to worry about this on 50-20 of course, but I'm just doing this so I know where he is. Anyways, I did show off a few times while I was talking earlier. I didn't last time, but you could see I closed the vent and Phantom Freddy jump scared me, but nobody attacked me of course. I think I do it again, but the reset I'm about to do is the last one. I don't have to worry about it again because it's past 3:44. You can see Nightmare BB was standing up, so I flashed him, There are a few things I didn't go over in my original voiceover, but yeah, I flash him, and see, I'm doing it right now. I close the vent, he jump scares me, and then I can open it up even during the jump scare, and I'm good. So, yep, it's about to be 4:30, we're about to win, and I've just had power generator and fan on the whole time because Music Man or Lefty is not a problem. I pay Rockstar Freddy if I can, if not, use a heater, but that's basically it for the night. After beating this night, you should have a high score of 8,000 points, and you should unlock the FNAF 4 office, which is the final office that you'll unlock. If you plan on beating 5020, this office is definitely the best one to use, the FNAF 4 one, so it is definitely worth the time and patience to get this roster out of the way. Anyways, as promised before, I will show you a clip real quick of Afton appearing in my office. So at 58, you can see the lights flicker, the loud sounds. I close the vent, it's hard to see. I close the vent, wait for the thud, and I open it up and he's gone. He's like completely done for the entire night. Great job if you have the 8,000 point high score. Don't worry if it takes you long either, as everyone learns at a different pace. I hope you feel accomplished after completing the previous roster. Not many people have the endurance to make it this far into the game. While you've learned many techniques and tricks throughout this video, it has brought you to this point. You have the final office, probably plenty of power-ups, and a fair amount of experience. This next milestone I feel is more of a jump up than the last. This is the 9,000 point roster. The main reason this is a bigger jump is because of Music Man and Lefty. You can either make this night more difficult by learning the global music box cycle and make 4920 easier in return, or you can do an easier GMB strategy that I will explain during the run. I will briefly explain the GMB cycle for those who want to learn it now, but you're free to skip on to the main strategy for this night. The global music box cycle will deal with Music Man and Lefty on this night. The reason why I recommend learning it now is because it will make 4920 easier in the long run. This cycle uses two tools with slight variations during your night, the power generator and fan, as well as the global music box. Learning this now to deal with Music Man and Lefty is more forgiving, and we'll deal with Chica and the puppet later on. The basic cycle goes like this. Starting the night, you turn off the fan and turn on the power generator. At 14 seconds, you switch to the global music box. Once you get to 31 seconds into the night, turn on the power gen and the fan. At 44 seconds, you turn on the GMB again. At 101, you turn on the power gen and fan, and you might have picked up on the pattern. To put it simply, any interval where the timer ends in 14 seconds or 44 seconds, you'll be turning on the global music box. Every time the timer ends with 01 or 31, you'll turn on the power gen and the fan. This sounds complicated, but with time, it'll be easy to stay on cycle without even knowing it. I will show a diagram on screen showing cycle times to provide more clarity. You can pause the video to take a look at it. Again, if this is a lot to remember and is too difficult, don't make things too hard on yourself. I had to literally put a piece of paper right next to my monitor while doing 4920 so I'd remember it. You can always learn this after getting 9,000 points. Just thought that some people would benefit from learning this early. With that all out of the way, let's get back to our roster. You can see that we have added Nedbear, Orville, Rockstar Bonnie, Music Man, and Lefty. Even if only 5 characters are being added, this will still potentially be a big hurdle to clear. All we can do now is enter the night and hope for the best. Once again, don't forget to select your office and power-ups as well as disabling VFX. Entering this night shouldn't be much different than before at first. Still turning on power gen, placing the audio layer, and go into cam 2. If you're doing GMB cycle, you'll be starting the night with power gen on and also the fan off. I usually just hold 1 in space while entering the night to make it easier. Also, if you're on GMB cycle, your 14 interval to turn on the music box and turn off the fan is fast. Make sure to deal with BB, JJ, and Helpy. This should be pretty familiar to you. If you aren't dealing with GMB cycle, you might hear symbols for Music Man now. My basic strategy to deal with him and Lefty without a cycle is to have the power gen and fan on to begin with. Once you hear cymbals crashing, turn off the fan and turn on the global music box. Keep it on for a few seconds or so after the cymbals are already stopped. You should be free to turn on the power gen and fan once again. For Nedbear and Orville, you'll have to use the heater for a few seconds before resetting. The process goes something like this. You'll either have the power gen and fan on, or you'll have the global music box on. Either way, you'll want to turn on the heater for a few seconds and then switch back to whatever you had on before. You'll hear a few small thuds when the duct animatronics retreat, and then after that you can go on as normal. Close off Freddy, close off vent, and then reset. Make sure you leave some time for yourself to do the heater, deal with Freddy, and then close the top vent. You don't want to die because you randomly waited too long. After the first reset or right before it, the 44-second interval for the global music box will be coming up. Doesn't matter if you're off by a bit for this night, the cycle will be a bit more stricter when more animatronics are thrown into the equation. After resetting later on, the 01-second interval for power gen and fan will come up. The cycle is just rinse and repeat after that point, hitting the 14, 31, 44, and 01 times. For the voiceover, I'm going to start off and say, I'm not on GMB Cycle for this run. I don't know if I already said that, but I am just kind of winging in this so you can see, like, for people that aren't on GMB Cycle, which I completely understand, you can see kind of when I'm turning on power gen, when I'm turning it off, when I'm turning on GMB, things like that. And then, not too much different actually. It's fairly simple to deal with. You just have to remember to use heater. If you are using GMB Cycle, it will be harder, but if you're remembering that, then you're pretty much set in that regard. I don't really think there's anything else to really deal with. That's a big deal. I mean, Lefty can be troubling sometimes. I usually don't have any troubles with him, but if you aren't careful, then he can become a problem. So make sure to keep an eye on him, just like you would Music Man. That's why I keep it on for a few seconds, not only to get rid of Music Man's symbols, because they will come back if you just turn power gen and fan on right after, like that, but it would be like right after, and that'll probably get Lefty pretty mad as well. So staying on GMB won't have any of those issues either. So as well as this, for 50-20, that's basically just like that deals with all of the animatronics that I noted before, but I am going to go a little more in depth into the GMB Cycle once I get to the 50-20 section. I think I haven't even gotten to that part in editing, but you know. So yeah, so GMB Cycle just deals with 4 animatronics. They're also like one of the worst to deal with. Like if you're not on Cycle and you don't know, they're the worst, but if you remember the cycle, it is pretty easy. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I mean, I'll just like throw a few things out there that you'll have to learn for 4920. So it's like a heads up. You'll have to learn how to zero frame flips, or how to properly close the vent and door to be able to switch the figure on the table. Because when Foxy's there, it's not even a matter about checking on him. You just have to make sure that he's not on the table, and RNG will sometimes be in your favor. It'll be more in your favor if Bonnie's on the table, at least. Toy Freddy, RNG hell, you can't do anything about it, but you see this night's about to end, so I'll just cover that stuff later. So that pretty much does it for 4520. I also want to know, however, that continuing on, RNG becomes a big factor on if you win your night or not, especially on 50-20. I won't go over 50-20 just yet, but 49-20 is up. By the way, congrats if you beat 45-20. It's a pretty big achievement, and if you also learn GMB Cycle, I'm sure you'll be able to do 49-20. 49-20 is a step up before 50-20, but in reality it'll be about the same jump up as it was from 40-20 to 45-20. Also, if you learn GMB Cycle, this jump won't be too bad. Speaking of GMB Cycle, this is basically the point where you'll have to learn it to beat this night. If you don't learn GMB Cycle, this will be way harder than memorizing the cycle itself. To explain Global Music Box Cycle in depth, let's hop into an empty night so I can show you what times you're aiming for and what to do. You can of course skip this if you already learned the cycle, but you may also benefit from watching it be done in-game. GMB Cycle basically boils down to switching between your tools at certain times. When I say tools, I mean things like the power generator, fan, heater, etc. In other words, they are the things that you can enable with your number keys, or for the fan, the space bar. For GMB Cycle, before even entering the night, make sure to hold 1 in space after pressing the go button. This should automatically turn off the fan and turn on the power gen. If this does not happen, you probably just started pressing them too early. After this, you don't have to worry about the cycle until you get to 14 seconds into the night. In 14 seconds, you'll want to turn off the fan and turn on the GMB. However, since we already turned off the fan to start, we don't have to worry about turning off the fan. At 31 seconds, you want to turn on the power gen and fan. Pattern is that you're going to be switching between the GMB and the power gen and fan. The time to switch to the GMB next is 44 seconds. The next time for power gen and fan is 1 minute and 1 second. While this cycle sounds complicated already, there's a simple trick to make it easier. All you have to do is just ignore however many minutes have gone by. Putting it simply, the cycle goes like this. Excluding the start of the night, the power gen and fan will be turned on at 1 second and 31 second intervals. This includes times like 2:01, 3:31, etc. For GMB, you'll turn it on at 14 second and 44 second intervals. Again, this includes times like 1:14 or 3:44. Staying on cycle is easier said than done though, so don't get frustrated if you miss it a few times. If it helps, I put a folded piece of paper right under my monitor to keep track of cycle times. Again, give it some time and you can always rewind to this section if you need. If you're still confused, which I understand, check out Ambience's video on 4920 where he explains GMB Cycle as well. I've left the link in the description with his channel link, and he has a whole playlist of UCN tutorial videos. This is also where I and many other people learn this strategy, so show him some support. With GMB Cycle explained, the 4920 roster looks like this. You can see that everyone is here, excluding Funtime Foxy. The reason for this is because you have to watch her on a certain camera, and because you can't switch cameras because you're cam stalling the whole night, she becomes a problem. That's also the reason we got the death coin in 5020 to get rid of her. Anyways, the new animatronics added include Chica, Foxy, Toy Freddy, and the puppet. The GMB cycle deals with Chica and the puppet, so Toy Freddy and Foxy are left. Foxy works similar to how he does in the first FNAF game. You watch him in the show stage to make sure he doesn't leave. However, since we can't watch from Cam 2, we have to play him a little differently. When Foxy leaves his cove, he doesn't immediately attack you, but instead puts himself together in your office. The only caveat to this is that he can only do so if you're on your camera. He has way less of a chance to appear if Bonnie is situated on the desk, but there will be some times where it just comes into your office anyways. Getting Bonnie on the desk can be a problem, but this is where zero frame flips comes in. If you're on PC, this trick will be way easier. The trick is to first flip up the camera, but before it actually turns on, you flip it down again. This also prevents the vent animatronics from attacking. You can also do the trick by pressing S twice, but that requires frame perfect inputs to do so. That is also the same reason the trick is so hard on mobile and console, especially mobile. The alternative to zero frame flipping is to close the left door and top vent. Quickly flip the camera up and down, being sure to watch out for Nightmare BB and Golden Freddy. Moving on, Toy Freddy doesn't have to be dealt with. At least on 4920, he can be ignored for the whole night. When he gets jump scared by Mr. Hugs, he has a 1 in 10 chance to kill you every half second. This emphasizes the need to be fast while resetting the ventilation, as to lower your chances of dying to him while on the cam. With Foxy and Toy Freddy out of the way, let's get on to the night. I'm going to be calling out GMB Cycle during the whole run while I can. I'm going to use footage of my video of me beating it for the first time, so please excuse the quality. This night will be the exact same, except will include zero frame flips and GMB Cycle. Make sure to hold 1 in space while entering the night to save a bit of power. After you're done dealing with the camera and everything, you can then zero frame flip if Foxy is on the table. For the best chance of Bonnie switching onto the table, wait about 6 seconds after a cam flip. The 14-second interval to turn on global music box just happened. Other than that, I don't have much to go over. Watch for Afton, keep check on Phantom Freddy, and listen closely for Ballora. Sometimes sounds can all flash at once, making her hard to hear, so close the door if you think she might be there. Starting off the voiceover, the 31-second interval for Power Gen and Fan just came up. So I don't want to try and talk her over myself much, but the 44-second interval just came up for a global music box and turning off the fan. You see I reset there, I did turn on the heater. You can see Foxy's on the table, so in a few seconds I'll zero frame flip right now. And the interval for Power Gen and Fan is about to come up in right now. So I'm going to try and keep the interval, like me saying when the interval is, kind of quick so I can explain other things, but it's 1:14, so turn on global music box, turn on fan. You can see that I'm about to reset. What I like to do, I'm not sure if I did it here, but I turn on heater when it comes to the interval right here, 31, or it's right here, 31. I'll turn on the heater instead of Power Gen and Fan, so I can get rid of the duct animatronics. But then, right after that, after a few seconds, I'll turn on Power Gen and Fan then. So, those will be gone and I'll already be in cycle. And music box, but it's 44. I'm about to zero frame flip for Foxy because he's on the table. and it's 58. It's about to be 201, so that's for power gen and fan. It's basically right after the ad or phone call. You see I got the phone call. You get, I explained it before, you get one every 10 seconds. It's also 114 for the music box. You get a phone call every 10 seconds or so. So I know I explained it before, but it's pretty good for telling when to switch your cycle. It's 31 for power gen and fan, and I didn't explain it until now, but you'll see I was on power gen and fan earlier before the reset, and I'm able to use the heater during that because it's not the music box. Also 44 for the music box right now. The reason I'm able to use it during the power gen and fan is because it just messes with the temperature and the power, and it doesn't actually do serious harm, and I kind of needed to anyways to make sure I would live. Anyways, it's 301 for power gen and fan. Yeah, so I used heater for a second. I was on power gen and fan. I think I explained it earlier, but yeah, it just happened right there. It's also 314 for the music box. I did the 0 frame flip, but basically I was just doing heater. I just swapped from power gen and fan to heater and then back so I could cool down a little bit. It's also 31 for power gen and fan again. And I also kind of needed to do it again because it's right before reset, and if I didn't, I would be risking a lot with those duct animatronics. At least Medbear, Orville, and I think that's it. But it was also just 44 for the global music box. And right after this reset, since it's past 3:45 or so, I'm set for the night now. I don't have to go on the cams or anything. It's also 401 for power gen and fan. I did use heater during the global music box for a second, but that's okay. I kind of survived. And it's also around 414 for the global music box. You also want to make sure you're staying on cycle even if you did your last flip. And you're set for the night after 414. You actually don't have to worry about cycles or anything. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's how I did it. Beating 4920 means that you're prepared for a majority of what's to come in 5020, so I have faith that you can beat it. Also, I wanted to clarify something real quick regarding the GMB cycle. The way the cycle works prevents Chica from attacking, as she only advances every 15 seconds. The GMB is a nod. This is the reason why I was able to use the heater without dying instantly during the previous run. That's all I wanted to say. With all these challenges out of the way, it's finally time for the moment you've been waiting for, 50-20 mode. Of course, this means everybody on the roster will be turned on 20 difficulty. Before I begin, I want to quote Ambience in saying that this is a mentally taxing challenge. If you're feeling frustrated, it's okay to take breaks. Nobody expects you to beat the mode in a certain time frame, and this goes for all of these challenge runs. With everybody on, DD Repel will no longer have any use. If you remember from the intro, Zor aka Shadow DD adds secret characters to your 50-20 run. Her being Zor instead of her normal self basically means that you'll have to deal with these secret animatronics. The only real threats will be Plush Trap, Nightmare Chica, Bonnet, and kind of Wolbit. I'll go more in depth later. Starting the night, we'll be performing a different strategy. I'll try to slow it down for you to understand. When we start, combined with holding 1 in space, I'll move the white floor sign over to the right by double clicking it. Then, going onto the cameras, I'm going to Toy Freddy's cam instead of cam 2. Basically what I'm trying to do is block off Mr. Hugs from jump scaring Toy Freddy by using his camera system and doors on his screen. This will reduce RNG a bit later, making him unable to jump scare us for most of the setup. After dealing with him, I pick up a few extra coins before switching to the prize counter and closing the camera. It's okay to be here for now, as plus animatronics won't kill you until 55 seconds into the night. Right after that, I'll start performing what is called coin farming. Coin farming simply means that I'm intentionally respawning BB, JJ, and Helpy so I can get coins from them. Right before doing this though, I do make sure Nightmare and Nightmare Fredbear aren't on my doors. To coin farm, you'll basically want to flip up the camera and then quickly flip it down again. This can possibly respawn BB, JJ, or Helpy, but also watch out for Golden Freddy and Nightmare BB. It does take practice to get as fast as I am in this run, but just give it time and it'll come naturally. Also, make sure you aren't doing 0 frame flips while coin farming, as this will not respawn BB, JJ, or Helpy. You'll want to coin farm until you get 10 or more coins, as well as dealing with the opposite animatronic. Before I go any further, I want to switch my attention to Zor quickly. Zor can spawn at 11 seconds, 21 seconds, 31 seconds, and so on. This spawn is random though, and you'll want her to either appear at 11 seconds or 21 seconds. These are the two most convenient times, and any other time is too inconvenient, and I won't be going over them in this video. Going on, you'll want to coin farm until right before 20 seconds. You might also see Zor in your office before then. At 20 seconds, close the ad or hang up on phone guy if they appear. Then, go back onto the cameras and quickly switch to the vent system and back. This prevents Phantom Mangle and Phantom Vivi from jump scaring you and basically ruining the run. When you're back on the cam system, buy the death coin with the 10 or more fast coins you have and then go to cam 6. In the top left, you'll see a death coin icon that's highlighted, so use it to get rid of Funtime Foxy. After getting rid of him, get off the camera as fast as you can. Time to try and get off the cams is by 26 seconds. If you're on the cams by then, Withered Bonnie and Rockstar Bonnie can appear, and they're both basically death sentences. This means that you only have 6 seconds to do all this, but trust me, it sounds way worse than it really is. Once off the camera, this is where the strategy can differ a bit. You'll be on the GMB for the cycle, so you can switch back go like this. At 32 seconds, 1 second after turning on your power gen and fan, you'll want to switch to the power AC and back quickly. This deals with Nightmare Chica as soon as she spawns. After doing this, go back onto the camera. This is probably the most luck-based part of the run. Assuming you don't die to Rockstar Chica as soon as you go on the camera, click the vent system and go back again for the Phantom. While waiting for Plushtrap to run from his share, keep clicking the reset ventilation button. As soon as he is off screen, head over to cam 2 and your setup is now complete. If Zor spawns at 21 seconds into the night, you'll want to wait until 35 to flip up the camera. Don't worry about the power AC either, as Nightmare Chica can be dealt with right after. Do the same as the last strategy when you flip up the camera. After getting off the cam, you'll want to turn on the power AC until Nightmare Chica is gone. As soon as that's done, turn on the GMB to try and stay on cycle. The setup is complete after doing so. The rest of the night will nearly be the same, with some wrenches thrown into the strap. After getting off the cam, make sure to put the wet floor sign to the left again. After you reset the ventilation for the first time after setting up, the mini arenas will be on your screen. They don't attack, but they'll block a majority of your screen. Be sure to focus a bit more on Nightmare V being healthy, and I want to put emphasis on paying attention to the figure on the desk. It is hard to see, but make sure Bonnie is on there or else your run is very likely to end on your preceding flips. Also, you may have gotten lulled at this point. She creates a visual and audio distraction, but can easily be removed by typing out LOL on your keyboard. After doing your next reset, the mini arena should be gone. However, during this process, Bonnie has also probably shown up. You can get rid of her by simply clicking her nose, but be careful to not die to Nightmare Young while doing so. After this point, the run is the exact same with just Bonnet added to the mix. This also means that I don't have much else to talk about from here on out. If you did skip to this part from the beginning of this video, you'll be missing out on a lot of key details that are important for this run. If you plan on beating this mode, make your way up as to not overwhelm yourself and quit immediately like I did a long time ago. Okay, I didn't clarify this a little earlier for the setup, but basically, when I put the camera down for Plushtrap, that's when I close the vent door at the top. It's okay to not at the beginning because the vent animatronics won't be able to get you yet, but after that point, like up to that point, you'll have to close that vent door to make sure you won't die to them. I think that's pretty much it for things I forgot. I didn't show footage of me doing 21. Yeah, I didn't show footage of me doing the 21 cycle, but it is a tiny bit simpler in a way. It's harder, but it's simpler. Also, excuse me heavily breathing in this recording, dude. I'm gonna have to turn it down after I record this voiceover because it's so fucking loud. I got so nervous. Anyways, coin farming is easier if you start with the 3 coins. I don't now because I'm able to farm fast enough, but you can use the extra 3 coins to help you out a little bit. you can see I could have waited a bit to reset there. That would have like guaranteed I wouldn't have to go on the camera, but I'm also not zero frame flipping for Fox. Yeah, at least I shouldn't have. I just saw it, did it now. But if I would have done it a little later, then I could have guaranteed that I don't have to do anything. Heavy breathing again, of course. But in about 15 seconds, the night's over. So of course that's nerve-wracking. Yeah, it's just consistency, really. Like, you just gotta know and you gotta get consistent. And after that point, you're basically set. And you can see I beat it now. It's so loud and cringy. Oh my god, bro. It sounds like I'm crying too, which is the funniest part, because I wasn't even crying. I was just shocked. And I was like, yeah, I wasn't crying, but that's it, basically. Okay, I'm pretty much gonna call it there for the video, but I hope you guys learned at least something new from this tutorial. And if you have been 50-20, then you're just a legend. Like, this is an amazing achievement. I would know definitely how hard it is, what the struggle's like. The fact of the matter is, if you've beaten this, very good at this game, of course, and there's like bigger steps in this though. Like, you can go to literally 50, 60. Somebody has done that somehow. But anyways, sorry if this video is kind of rushed. I am editing on some software that does tend to glitch out sometimes, and while editing this it did glitch out a bit, and it's not very convenient, and I don't want to risk all of this being deleted or something. So sorry if it's rushed. It's also my first time editing a long ass video like this. This video is like 42-43 minutes long. I don't know if I'll be able to, but I'm going to try and add like sections to the video so you can skip to them. Again, I'll link Ambience in the description. I'll link his playlist, and I'll also link my completion of 49-20 and 50-20 in the description if you want to see those just as is. Be aware, the 50-21 is pretty loud, especially the stream VOD, because I had to not only turn down the video in the completion video that I uploaded, but it's like ear blasting on the stream VOD. I had to turn it down to like 40% volume on here. So that's basically it for the video. If you've watched all the way through, I appreciate it, and I'm gonna try and do 50-25. I have already done a few streams about it. I've gotten to like around 3:42 into the night so far. I'm pretty sure that was on stream. If not, it was just a recording. But anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching.